In the process of upgrading the home defense build, I put the optic on a riser. So now, of course, I do have to confirm my zero. It's a beautiful day to be shooting some 300 blackout. We'll start with supers as usual, and then we'll go to subs. Welcome back to Sawtooth Tactical. I am very glad that you're here today for this video. If you saw last week's video, you know that we are rebuilding my home defense 300 blackout build. Now, when I built this, I called it my ultimate home defense build, but after building my 14.5 inch and really sparing no expense on that rifle, I realized this wasn't quite the ultimate home defense build, and so that's what we are turning it into now. In last week's episode, I added the Unity Tactical riser for the optic, took it out to the range this week, zeroed it, and we're all good there. This week, I've got some new parts. We're going to be kind of doing a 50 shades of FDE build here. So I do have the new grip. This is the Type 23 from B5 Systems. We've got the BCM vertical foregrip. And of course, for a little bit of Gucci factor, forward controls ejection port cover. This suppressed 300 blackout SBR is one of my most favorite, just fun guns to shoot. Now, a little bit of reasoning behind this. So my thoughts are this. The two guns that you're most likely to ever have to use defensively, realistically, are going to be your carry gun, and I rebuilt this one a couple months ago, and your home defense gun. And since I rebuilt my carry gun to exactly the way I like it, light, optic, it's got a comped slide, it's fantastic. P365XL with the Holosun combat grip module and the X macro slide. I love it. I shoot it very well and I feel confident with it. Well, I already feel confident with this and I shoot it very well, although we did have some issues with one type of ammo at the range today. I ran 3 different types of ammo, and the ammo incorporated subsonic didn't want to fully cycle the gun. So it is something I've been looking into. I think I've got it fixed. I'll know next week when I go back out to the range. But it always cycled that ammo before. It does seem to cycle the other subs that I have no problem. So anyway, the point of this video is this. Why am I replacing parts that have been serving me just fine? Well, like I said, this Magpul grip, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's the SL. I kind of like it. But I like the angle of the B5 Systems grip a lot better, and it just feels better in my hand. And so that is what we're putting on this gun. Now, as far as the vertical foregrip goes, again, this finger stop feels just fine, but I really like vertical foregrips. You might notice that I put them on pretty much all of my guns, and since this is an SBR, I can legally do that, and so I might as well have it set up exactly the way that I like, and I do like vertical foregrips. When it comes to the ejection port cover, this doesn't really give me a whole lot of added effectiveness that I can really tell, but I put one on this build. I think they look sweet. It wasn't that much more money just to add a little bit of Gucci factor. Next week, we're going to be doing the light, and I have ordered mod light and all the parts to do the same basic setup as I put on this gun. Of course, in flat dark earth, not green. And you can see why. I am hitting the pressure pad now and I'm getting no light. And this happens sometimes. And I have to mess with this to make it work. And that is unacceptable for a home defense gun. I need to know that my light is going to work every time. And so that was kind of the catalyst for changing up this build. I need to know that my home defense gun is going to do exactly what I need it to do. I want to take a quick minute to talk about this video's sponsor, which is Aura. And the reason why is because it's a product that I actually do believe in. Now that I've been using it for a little while, it's actually improved my life. I get a lot less spam calls than I used to get, which is kind of huge. I use my phone for work, and so I have to answer numbers that I don't recognize, and it's nice to not be getting those spam calls all the time anymore. The other thing is I had my bank account hacked 3 times last year, and I had to get new debit cards at least twice. And then I had to, get all of my bills that were automatically paid fixed and switched over to the new cards. Huge hassle. And Aura takes care of all that stuff so that you don't end up having to deal with those kinds of problems anymore. They scour the internet and they find wherever your information is being sold to scammers and spammers and anybody else that wants to use your information to sell your information, and they submit opt-out requests on your behalf, which helps get rid of all that stuff so you don't have to deal with that anymore. And ever since I've been using it, I actually have noticed a big difference. And in fact, I get alerts from Aura when they find where my information has been leaked, and then they fix that for me, and that's been huge. And they do a lot of other things too. They have VPN, password management, parental controls, all kinds of stuff, and you get it at a very low price, a lot less than you would pay if you bought all of those things individually. And it helps the channel. With YouTube demonetizing pretty much all of my videos now, if you sign up for Aura, it helps me grow the channel, and that is greatly appreciated. So please check out Aura. Get 2 weeks for free if you use my link, aura.com/sawtooth-tactical. I'd really appreciate it. I respect my privacy, and I respect yours. So we seem to be having a gassing issue, which is funny because I thought I had this thing tuned perfectly, but with subs, it's now acting like a bolt gun. So I did what I normally do, and I messed with this a little bit off camera. And now my Streamlight ProTac HLX is working just fine. This light itself is very bright, but this is the second pressure pad I've gotten for it, and it's the second one that's had the same issue. So this light will go on my AR-9 because that's not a gun that I rely on for home defense the way I do with my 300 Blackout. And it needs a light anyway. So I just wanted to get that across. It just kind of made my point for me in this video. I didn't expect the light not to work right then, but it didn't, and that's why it needs to be replaced. And that's why I'm spending all this money on a mod light, which is over $500 when you factor in the tail cap, the switch, the mount, everything else that goes with it. It's a lot of money, but if someone broke into my home in the middle of the night and my light didn't work, well, I really would have wished I spent that money. So let's go up close, and we're going to install these new parts. So here we see the gun in the configuration that I built it in. And honestly, it's pretty good already. It's got the Geisley trigger, Radian safety, Radian charging handle. It's got a perfect optic for home defense. It's nice and short and compact, maneuverable, and suppressed. Really everything I want in a home defense gun, but not everything that I want in a perfect gun, and so that's why we're going to change it up a little bit today. The grip angle and just the feel and the stippling of this Type 23 grip is really, really good. And I really like these BCM vertical foregrips. We're going to install the FCD ejection port cover here. And when we're done, this rifle will be looking much better. Of course, I got the twin dimple this time. I got the single dimple OD green on my last one. But because YouTube won't allow us to show building guns on their platform with the magic of video editing, and we're back. So as you can see, dust cover replaced, the B5 grip, the vertical foregrip. Let's zoom out. I want to show you guys this whole thing because it's pretty sweet. So here we are. This thing is looking more and more like the ultimate home defense gun at this point. I really, really like this B5 Systems grip. Like I said, nothing wrong with the Magpul grip, but if you look at the difference in the grip angle there, it is quite a big difference. And especially with a short gun like this, the more vertical your pistol grip is, the less it's going to luck your wrist out, the more comfortable it's going to be. as well as the vertical foregrip here. And I like to put these on backwards, so the angle forward. I've got them on 3 different guns at this point. And I just like the kind of the wedge that you get there to be able to pull it into your shoulder. I feel like I have more control over the gun that way. It does put my thumb exactly where I need it for the pressure pad. And then, of course, the part that took the most work and was the most difficult, although it wasn't really difficult, was the part that doesn't really affect function all that much. But the FCD EPC here, I had to take not only the handguard off, because on these Aero Precision uppers, you have to pull this rod out this direction, but because it's a short barrel with a pistol length gas system, I actually had to pull the entire barrel off because the barrel nut was in the way of this. And in order to get the barrel nut far enough out so that I could get this out, the entire barrel had to come off of the gun. So just to change out this ejection port cover, I literally just pulled the whole barrel off my gun, had to put the barrel back on, retime it, retorque the barrel nut there, handguard and everything back on, suppressor back on, and we're back in business. But it did take a little more work than I thought it would just to change out a dust cover. But man, that is a good looking dust cover. I really do like these forward controls EPCs. They're really sweet. And so yeah, I am very, very happy with the way this thing is turning out. Now, let me know if there's anything else that you guys would do on a short 300 blackout home defense build besides what I've already got here. You know, I've already got Geisley, Radian, all the normal parts that I like to use. The one big change that is still coming and should be here next week is going to be the light. And there you can see again, it didn't work again. It's funny actually. In this video, this is failing more often than it normally ever does. But it's just making me feel all that much better about spending the $500+ on a mod light setup, because as you can see here, the mod light never fails. And on my home defense gun, I need to be able to trust my light. Bad things happen in the dark. Bad people do bad stuff at night. And so I really believe in a light on a home defense gun. You need to be able to positively identify any potential targets, and you got to be able to see what's going on. And while I like Streamlight products, I really like their pistol lights. I use a lot of them. This just doesn't work for me. So stay tuned next week for mod light, switching out for this Streamlight. Streamlight's going to go on a different gun that doesn't matter quite as much. Not that they all don't matter, but the 300 blackout is specifically for home defense more than the AR9 is. So I feel like I could afford to put this light on the AR9, at least for now. Now, Arasaka does make an adapter that'll turn the back of a Streamlight ProTac into basically a Surefire tail cap, and then you can use whatever switches you want. So I might do that at some point, because the switch does seem to be the problem. Well, this is a little disappointing to say the least. This gun has given me zero problems ever since I changed the buffer and the spring in it. And then today, all of a sudden, it doesn't want to cycle subs. So I'm gonna get some footage of the ejection port so that when I get home, I can see what's going on and hopefully diagnose and fix the issue. Bummer. Seems to be working better now. Okay. Let me know, what is your ultimate home defense gun? Because this is my idea of a perfect home defense gun. Short, maneuverable, 300 blackout, suppressed SBR. I think it's about perfect, but everybody's got their own ideas. A lot of people run shotguns for home defense, 5.56 guns, handguns. I mean, honestly, it's going to be quicker and easier to grab a pistol most of the time. But I do think that suppress is important because you're probably not going to have time to put ear protection on. There's a lot of thought that went into why this is my home defense gun. And if you agree with me that this is a good home defense platform, let me know that down in the comments as well. I do answer every comment. I love to interact with you guys. If you want to support the channel in any way, the best way would be to sign up for Aura. You get 2 free weeks with my link. That's a pretty sweet deal, and it's only $12 a month after that. Otherwise, like, comment, subscribe. All of that helps the channel, helps the algorithm to push this video, and helps me grow Sawtooth Tactical, and is extremely appreciated. From Sawtooth Tactical, stay strapped or get clapped.